Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new edition of the ISPRM Social Media Interview. I am Dr. Symphorian Kambu, physician and country ambassador of the ISPRM World Youth Forum in Cameroon. Today, we have the pleasure to discuss with Mr. Musonda Siame, who is the chairperson of the Executive Committee of the Community-Based Rehabilitation Africa Network. He has been a CBR worker since 1996 and a CBR program manager since 1988. He has been practicing as a physiotherapist in Zambia for many years. Mr. Siame, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Okay. So now we will begin our discussion. Please, first of all, can you present us the Community-Based Rehabilitation Africa Network and its role in the development of CBR in Africa?
Okay. Thank you very much. The Community-Based Rehabilitation Africa Network was founded in 2001 in Uganda when various stakeholders gathered to share ideas and experiences related to CBR. So the organization helps to continue the learning and sharing of CBR, CBID knowledge across Africa, and to promote networking and access to appropriate information on disability and inclusive development in Africa. Its registered office is in Kampala, Uganda. So CAN, as we like to call it, CAN has established itself as a knowledge and experiences sharing platform among CBR and CBID implementers within Africa and internationally. So it offers CBR workers the opportunity to share their experiences and knowledge on CBR or CBID, good practice to impact better service delivery and improve access to rights and quality of life for persons with disability in Africa.
Okay, that's a great mission. That's a great mission. And now, in few words, can you tell us more about the current situation of CBR in Africa?
Okay, just to sort of add on, so knowledge sharing is now more possible in line with the CBR guidelines, and achievement of the rights of persons with disabilities ties in very well with the Convention on the Rights for Persons with Disabilities that many African countries have ratified. So CBR currently is being practiced in over 100 countries, benefiting children, adults, and older people with different disabilities in resource-scarce settings. So examples of inclusion of CBR in public health policy in Africa, either as a strategy or as activities or as guidelines. Programs include Uganda, Zambia, Malawi, South Africa, and Tanzania, to mention a few. CAN has membership of over 6,210 individuals and institutions from all the African countries. And basically, we believe that this reflects the number of countries that are practicing CBR and CBID. And now, with the advent of disability inclusive development and inclusive development in general, and the promotion of a rights-based approach and inclusion to deliver a service to persons with disability, there has been a desire to shift from CBR to CBID, which is community-based inclusive development. However, a study undertaken by CAN with the support of Rehabilitation International in 2020 concluded that 10 years after its inception, the factual basis of CBID, that is now looking at the shift from CBR to CBID, the concept is still weak. And so most of the actions implemented and the documents consulted speak to more of CBR. and there has been no change in policy since the declaration of the transition from CBR to CBID. Another conclusion is that the transition from CBR to CBID has heavily relied on funding from international donor agencies, which is short-term, and unreliable, with fears that a reduction in funding would disrupt the continuity of CBR.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Thank you very much for all these informations. Now, another things about CBR or CBID as the new terminology of this strategy is about training of CBR workers, you know, and that's a great that's a really important issue in low income countries or in developing countries. And I would like to know, is there any academic training program for CBR workers in Africa? And if not, how are they trained?
Okay, so there are academic training programs for CBR in Africa, and these are primarily in Uganda. They're in Uganda at the Chambogo University, and in Zambia, and in South Africa. So there are academic courses that support the capacity of CBR workers within Africa.
Any training program in French-speaking countries in Africa?
At the moment, because I think we are still gathering information. There's scattered information we're still gathering to establish exactly where and the level of training that is available.
Okay, thank you very much. That could be really useful for all our viewers. Okay, now I would like to know, African has participated in the organization of many CBR writing skill workshops for CBR practitioners across Africa. What was the goal of these workshops, and what is the feedback that you receive after the training sessions?
So, CBR Africa Network has technically not just participated, but has organized the CBR writing skills workshop. And so far, 12 writing skills workshops have been held in 10 African countries, including Egypt, Ghana, Malawi, Sierra Leone, South Africa, and Uganda, and most recently in Cameroon.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure that would make you quite happy. Yeah. Yes. So the aim is to develop skills of members in documenting CBR, CBID practices, and also to understand the documentation processes and strategic information sharing. So the workshops targeted practitioners with CBR experience, but it also was promoting training of trainers, so they could go back and train others in the skills that they have learned. So the workshops also seek to facilitate the taking of oral history from community members and to encourage documentation of CBR experiences and best practices in Africa. So the workshops gave grassroots level CBR practitioners the opportunity to share their stories of success and challenges. And in terms of feedback, the participants always appreciated the opportunity for training, as it will enhance their skills in documenting their work as CBR practitioners. And I think up to date, there are more than six stories that were written during these 12 workshops that were shared and posted on the CAN web and Facebook page from each of the workshops respectively. So there has been very positive.
Okay, that's a great initiative. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Okay, now globally, there are many challenges that you have mentioned about implementing rehabilitation CBR in Africa or in other low-income countries, and which are the main barriers that you can identify to strengthen CBR in Africa, and how do you think that the ISPRM can collaborate to this effort?
Okay, so a lot of the time, CBR programs are reported to be associated with, remarkable benefits. Evaluation studies have revealed, a wide range of challenges in the execution or implementation of CBR. So among some of them, basically, high poverty levels that you find among communities and families or persons with disability. So if there's any poverty alleviation programs or resources, these intended for persons with disabilities, these are channeled, because of the high poverty. There's obviously limited availability of resources, minimal participation of the community, so you don't get buy-in. So sustainability is a challenge, and this is because of negative attitudes and cultural insensitivity sometimes. There's also a shortage of competent, trained health community workers to implement the CBR, and also government under prioritization because of competing priorities. Most countries do not yet have rehabilitation policies and planning at national and subnational level. Yeah, so inadequate funding and lack of integration basically into health system. So if these were addressed, the integration of CBR in health in the health systems would definitely improve, and would lead to better implementation and sustainability of CBR and CBR programs.
Okay, and how do you think that the International Society of Physical and Rehabilitation Medicine can collaborate in this effort?
Okay, so I think they ought to be more collaboration, huh? Because at the moment I don't think there is any direct link between PMR physicians and CBR Africa network. So as an information sharing platform, I think if we were to collaborate more, and you could channel some of your stories, some of your practices through our platform, which we can then share, and from our directory, we could also give you information about the various practitioners in the countries, the various countries where you could link with them, so that there's a better collaboration amongst the CBR practitioners and the rehabilitation, the ISPRM physicians.
Okay, I think that that could be a really interesting to develop in the upcoming month about African and ISPRM. That will be great to improve rehabilitation globally and CBR in Africa. So now, can you remind our PRM physician community the essential reasons why CBR needs to be better integrated into health system in developing countries and in the world?
Okay, you're probably aware that an estimated 80% of persons with disabilities live in low and middle income countries.
Yes,
and the majority of them in poverty and in resource scarce settings. So better integration of the CBR into the health system in developing countries will be in line with the UNCRPD and with the Sustainable Development Goals. So this would ensure that millions of persons with disabilities and other vulnerable population groups living in poverty have access to quality and affordable habilitation and rehabilitation services in communities. So for example, the ministries of health, for example, in Zambia, so their aim is to bring services as close as possible to the people. So the health system is well placed to deliver CBR. And after all, the WHO initiated the CBR concept. So with better integration of the health system, there will be better delivery rehabilitation services via the CBR approach.
Okay, thank you very much. That's really interesting, and the CBR is a really important strategy that should be implemented that should be implemented in the health system in the most of the different countries, just to improve the rehabilitation outcomes of the patient. That would be really interesting, and it's a goal that we all need to achieve together now. Okay, so now we are now reaching to the end of our discussion. Now, maybe you can tell us just one word about your upcoming congress. And there's one which was planned but has been postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Can you give us just one or two information regarding that? And maybe some of us would be interested to join you for this congress.
Okay, so the Global Congress, as you know, because of the COVID, was supposed to have taken place this year, but it has been deferred again. So it's supposed to take place in 2022, but that is all dependent on how the COVID evolves. So instead, what has been proposed is the holding of regional conferences. So these regional conferences are going to be online, and I believe that starting in September, there will be regional conferences that are going to be held. Other CBR networks in other regions have already started holding these regional conferences. But for Africa, we are still in the planning stages. But I can safely say that we will be having regional online conferences, because themes have already been selected, and now it's just the technical issues that are being hammered out, so that then we can put out information and send out invitations for speakers. You could be one of them. You never know. And that is the way that we're going to go. And we believe regional conferences will give a bigger opportunity for more people to attend, because there won't be the usual cost implications, limitations that people would have normally to travel to a face-to-face physical conference.
Okay, thank you very much for this information, and maybe many of us could join you for this really interesting discussion. No. Okay, now we are just reached to the end of our discussion of today, and I would like to know what is the message you wish to leave our viewers with.
Yeah. Okay, so CBR is a multi-sectoral approach. So I believe that multi-stakeholder partnerships and collaboration with organizations like yourself, which give support to persons with disabilities, is extremely important in adding value to the lives of persons with disabilities. So disability activities should not be carried out in isolation, but in collaboration with government agencies, academic institutions, professional bodies, and so on. And most importantly, with persons with disabilities and their organizations. So the partnership should clearly define stakeholder roles. So for example, if we do establish a collaboration with your organization, then we'd have to clarify exactly what our roles are going to be. But we'd always emphasize involving persons with disabilities. And we believe that integration into the health systems would require appropriate policy changes, sustained training, and capacity building of CBR personnel, and adequate allocation of resources as a matter of priority rather than as an afterthought.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Siame, for being with us today and for this really interesting discussion. We are very happy having you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm happy that I was given this opportunity to highlight a few things about CBR Africa Network, And I look forward to any future collaboration so that we can see how we can improve the quality of life of persons with disabilities.
Okay, thank you very much. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, and bye-bye.